Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao Kulusu coming to you live on several channels: Clubhouse, Wisdom, and Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I'm here to conduct my regular scheduled commitment with my house in Clubhouse, which is my house in Clubhouse, which we are committed to. It is appear once in a while. I committed Saturday evening, 7 o'clock. This is called Docs and Burnout. I have a separate club room, which is Dr. House Be a Pal. That I think they are not showing the people the room that much as the house. So people are doing it every day. Anyway, I also want to talk to my friends on the Wisdom and also on the other channels, like I mentioned, right? ChatGPT, that is something going on with a lot of activity. I'm also using that in a software created by my friend, and I'm using it to whatever I need, But then I was also observing or studying what are the fields on how it is going to affect us as a whole, as doctors, as a society, as human beings as a whole. In that respect, I came across an article in Econometric. In November, I think they wrote an article, a couple of them. One is a professor from MIT, and another one is a professor from Boston University. So these two professors, they studied what is the economic impact of automation from 1987 to 2016, I believe. And they put an article on that, So this article talks about the impact economically on us because of the automation. See, it used to be thought that globalization and also union organization, those two were the factors to really make people understand that the impact that they have on these economic inequality and wage control and all that, right? It was blamed entirely on the globalization and also fall of the unions, they thought. But then these professors argue that it is the automation that has really resulted in this going down wages, and a lot of people really have to work twice, let's say, try two jobs now. Hi, Alisa, how are you?
Fine.
Yeah.
So you were having a room or something?
Yeah. So this is the regular room I'm supposed to do every Saturday. So I can bring that. But today I'm talking about what is this ChatGPT that is having the economic inequality. So I was quoting an article that I read in Econometrica in November, of last year. So they said it is automation that is causing the economic inequality, and they are talking about ChatGPT. With all the good things it is going to do, it is also going to throw a lot of people out of work, and also it is going to increase the economic inequality. So I use ChatGPT myself in a way that is really helping me in so many ways.
How is it helping you? I can see it speeding up someone's
that's
work.
That's what is happening with my writing the articles and composing my social media content, and also
I was going to say like a published paper, though?
Yeah, published paper also, writing time and composing it and getting a lot of sources investigated, all those things are coming through pretty well, I mean, in a short time, because they basically review the data that is there up until 2021, so it is already much better to, instead of going searching and reading all the articles in the Google Plus or whatever. We are
the problem with medical, like I know I learned never use references that are within 5 years or more of today's date. And what if it pulls information?
No, I don't really use for the medical as much as for this mundane jobs that I'm doing, because there are some inaccuracies on the ChatGPT. So even philosophically, there was a talk we were doing about Bohm and Jay Krishnamurti, and it said Bohm was the first one, and then Krishnamurti came to him. That was exactly opposite the way it happened. So there are certain, so whatever you put in there, it can give you the data based on whatever the data is there. It will make mistakes, but if you feed it the correct one, then it will correct itself, So there are a lot of intricacies there, but basically this technology is going to help a lot of people speed up their mundane jobs, and that is very good, But then it can also make people who are skilled and not skilled much more separate, and the people who are not skilled will be having trouble finding jobs or losing jobs or doing a job that doesn't pay them enough so that they will live comfortably. Those things are there. So I was examining those things.
Months ago, I was trying to learn to speed read, and I was reading this book called Work, something about work, and it was talking about how there's going to be a huge gap difference, and if you don't stick, if you don't keep with it, and keep on top of what is coming out and what's new, you're gonna fall behind severely.
I feel like I already fell behind. It was so fast, so good, and so many things it is doing. So I am putting some time to learn that and understand that, and then study that in a bigger scale. And what it does show me is there are so many kids are much more advanced than the adults because they are born in it and they're more comfortable with it. And so they are creating things much faster, So there's a kid entrepreneur or something that I was asked to come there, and I was talking to one of the kids who was really very wizard-like, I told him to protect his mom brain because he told me he cannot stop thinking at all, and that is not good, So my thing is use this technology for your mundane things, and then spend your time on your inner growth. That's what I'm doing. I have more time now to reflect and to really not like really introspect, but then more like understand our reactions and everything. So the self-knowledge, I call it. So that is one thing people have to do. Otherwise, they will be not only feeling left behind, also they cannot really catch up with it, and then they feel inadequate. That is there. But anyway.
Even started I was waiting for the Michael guy to start talking about it, but I haven't caught him doing it at all. The one that has all those rooms, globalization, it's really nice. Knows a ton of everything. Like he was the next hacker for like a government or something.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I haven't gone. I went into one and today, and the guy was and then the one room was silent last night because they were all doing it. So I don't know. I don't even know if it's an app. I understand what it does, how it works, functions, but I haven't seen it. I don't know what it looks like and how you get it.
Well, the chat GPT is supposed to be free, but there are so many different versions of it coming pretty soon so that people can access them. Because right now, a lot of people cannot.
Mentioned that uses it.
Yeah.
Thing I try to get to at 6:40 a.m.
Yeah.
Because a short room and uses it now.
Yeah. The chat GPT itself, it is so busy. Lots of times people cannot get on that. That.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah. But there is a paid version. There is a paid version that you can pay. And then I use my friend's software. It's called relevant.page. That has to be monthly subscription. I think he charges $47 monthly because I know him and I happen to be there when he was presenting YouTube. Then I took it and I was very happy I took it because it has several advantages for me because so many different things it does. Suppose all my old YouTube talks, I have been talking for about a few years now, right? So I have a lot of talks that were there on the YouTube, and I can put that URL in my, the different varieties are there. It's not just one thing only. So it will go through my talk. No, it will go through my talk of the YouTube and give me a summary. That's a really nice thing. My own talk, and it can give me the summary. It can tell me what are things, and so that different things are there, different varieties. Yeah, go ahead now. You were saying something.
You just made me think. Does it scour like YouTube?
Yeah.
Content talk.
Yeah, it does. It
can do that.
It can do that. You got to enter the URL and ask the question like. Can you summarize the main points in a bullet point format?
You would have to put it in.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering, like, when you say, okay, can you give me an essay or something about this, and will it do? I know it uses like an SEO thing, and then how do you know which version? What this is better if it has access to the entire internet.
There are videos on ChatGPT on the YouTube. Have you tried to look at them?
No.
Oh, they will educate you. Where to go and check the YouTube, and then they will give you websites you can go to, and then they have presented this how the GPT has come and all. And then also there was one guy in the clubhouse. He was selling a course for a few bucks, and that was also very preliminary. I got it for my daughter, because she was also not into this. She was more like a.
There's a girl doing that every night. I see. Yeah. I go on. I took pictures of all of the courses just to understand what.
Yeah, they're doing it. I think a lot of people on the clubhouse. They are gathering together several clubs, I think, and then I met one lady called Judy Millard or Lady Millard, something like that. Have seen her? Lady.
I don't know. I just know this one has like 3 or 4 courses laid out at the top. You can click on it and then buy them for cheap. Yeah. They're not expensive, but it just seems like something that you'd eventually pick up along the way. Yeah, I don't know.
I saw some of the videos on the YouTube. They were very informative. And then this program my friend is selling, I took that, and that is the one I'm using it. I don't use ChatGPT as a whole, but then I've been talking about what are the possible societal effects, what are the possible effects on our inner self, and how it is going to dominate us. Because we had this talk about what if the computer takes over all the things that we are doing? What is going to happen to our mind? So that is something that we have been talking about it for 10 years or so. But then we didn't imagine the scope, the depth of this chat GPT is going to change, because it is going to learn as it goes along. Okay, so it is a It is something extraordinarily capable of learning by itself, and there will be more data generated because of the use, and then it is going to learn from it. I think if you are careful, we can use that better. My friend Sanya is here. We'll invite her to if she wants to come up. Hi, Sanya.
Hi, Dr.
How are you?
Good. Hello.
Yeah. See, today's talk inspired by an article I read in what is called Econometrica. There was a MIT professor and there was a Boston University professor. They took data from 1987 to I think 2016, I believe. And they published this data on how is ChatGPT or any automation things are going to change down the line. What are the possible things that they were warning? Um, what they said was during that period of 1987 to 2016, economic inequality has risen because of the automation, not just because of the globalization, not because of unions and all that. So now ChatGPT is going to really revolutionize a lot of fields. A lot of people are anticipated to lose jobs, but also gain jobs too. Which one is the balance? We don't know. But one thing is for sure: if you don't plan it, they were talking about planning in some countries, like in India. So if they don't, because it's number two, I think China is the number one, and number two is the India, and they were taking that scenario and talking about if they don't plan it properly, this inequality is going to grow. So more people will have to be skilled on this and learn this. And how are you doing, Sanya? Are you very skilled on the Chat GPT?
Yeah, no, I am not that skilled. I what it does taught me is, in terms of the information that you do want.
Yeah.
You have to be able to think it a different way, and so.
How I am doing it is whatever I consider mundane, repetitive, and lot of typing and writing to do, I kind of use that, and then that is really speeding up my work. For example, I was doing that course I wanted to do, and lot of, but it is doing only what I wanted it to do, and also I have to correct some of the not that many, but the inaccuracy. I also look at is it from the machine or is it from the human, or those things also I look at it. And sometimes it doesn't understand intricate, deep philosophical things. It only can look at the data and then bring the statements and all that. So I'm kind of, I kind of enjoy doing that though, because it kind of cut down my work so much. I can do other things, so that is the benefit of it. But I'm also worried about what it is going to do the learning of the kids, and what's going to do the jobs, what's going to do the mind as a whole, and how are they going to need the soft skills to really. If you find yourself you are not doing anything, what are you going to do with the time? That's the question. This was there, that question 10 years ago, in the philosophical circles, in the spiritual circles. So that's a something I right out my alley, because I train people on the soft skills, right? This burnout is basically that's what it is. So for me it's very good, but then what is going to happen if people don't get into the skill set? That is also they were talking about, because there is more revolutionary inequality of economic levels as we go. Not even a lot of time, 5 to 10 years, I believe they were talking about. What do you think, Sanya?
Yeah, I mean, it'll affect everyone in every position, right? In many ways, you have to rethink about the whole life. I think it's a great challenge for us on the next growth of human consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, there has to be a balance, and of course, in terms of control. And already we have challenges coming in as because now it's taking a form in many ways when you integrate it into other systems, not as So I see it what you said as the things to use for the things that we do every day that we don't necessarily want to do, and something that we can outsource in many ways, right? To an AI kind of thing. So that is supposed to be the function of the AI, the tools, any tools that we make is supposed to serve us, not the other way around. That to be totally dependent on that tool is, maybe not using as effective as we can be. But it has I'm seeing in social media and especially in the area of creator and content creator specifically, a drastic change in the way we look. And of course, there's not just the ChatGPT. There's other, forms of applications are coming out that is supposed to.
Oh yeah, revolutionary. So many are going to come. Not one of you. I think ChatGPT itself is kind of a lot of people getting that is busy, right? And there is a paid version. I have another friend of mine, Darrell. Of course, he has his software. Darrell is a friend of us on the Wisdom, and also I have another friend who worked on the AI course, and I'm also participant on that because he's my friend, and that really helped me to understand some things better too. I'm not even done with the course, he just did them recently. He's a very clever guy. He's kind of what does he do? He goes and then reverses the whole engineering and then reverse engineering and then brings out the intricacies for us. So we are very lucky to have him as a friend, and so I'm using that too. But I know I'm not even 1% of what he gave me. It takes so much time to study that. I'm busy doing my work and all my course, my book, and these talks and my other things that I do. All that is taking a lot of time, but it really helped me to save a lot of time, Sanya. I'm enjoying that, So you can go and do. Yeah.
Me too, and of course with Darrell. Things that he's making.
I think Darrell was on the Wisdom app. He was asking where is the room. I'm on the Wisdom app also. Darrell, if you want to come up, you're more than welcome to come up and help us understand this situation. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, there is Darrell. He's coming on there too. Let us listen to Darrell, what he says.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Hi, Darrell.
Hi, how's it going, Dr. Rao and Sonia?
Very good, very good. I have this house on the clubhouse, Docs and Burnout. I do this room at 7 o'clock every Saturday, but I also open Wisdom just to include my friends on the Wisdom. You see this article, I think you might have read it. It's Econometrica, that is the paper. They published a paper by two professors, MIT one and Boston University, and they were examining the data, and then they were saying automation in the last 3 decades has really increased the economic inequality, and they were advising governments, administration, all that really understand that and then see this plan to their country, especially India. They were talking about they already have a lot of people very less skilled. They have done engineering, but they don't have any skills in the, the software coding and all of that in terms of the population. There are so many people that are pretty good, but the higher skilled people are going to have more. The government has to plan that. What do you say about that, Darrell?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting outcome I didn't even think about, really. I thought because more and more people are getting online and, let's say, cryptocurrency and the fact that, people can, with a, pretty basic computer use, ChatGPT, I thought that it would be actually the opposite, where it would actually give people an upper hand and maybe marginalized cultures and things.
Yeah, they don't deny that. That's the truth. The skill is a good one to have. The skill, but they know how many people have that resources and means and interest. And also, a lot of these elderly people may not want to get into the new skills. All those things are there, but the gap will be much wider because these highly skilled people versus people who are not skilled, that is the one which is going to increase the economic inequality. That's their argument. But at the same time, they talk about new opportunities, new job creation, all that. That is there. But for me, the question was always, what is this new technology is going to do with our minds, what we should be doing? This was a question 10 years ago, not even now. We didn't know the capabilities at the time, but we have this inclination that a computer is going to do a lot of things for us. Then what are we going to do with our mind, with our jobs and all that? That was the question that we were talking about it for a long time, and the spiritual circles, in the philosophical circles, in the teaching circles and all that. And I was always interested in the impact of anything on the entire humanity and societies and countries like that, right? So when you go that way, maybe this is a good warning for what this professor wrote. I think you should take a look at it. Econometrica, November 11th, I think. They wrote on that, and there was some pages there. There's a huge article, but then there are some pages. I will send that to you. You can take the pages and look at it if you want to.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'll just say anecdotally, when I was a DJ, I used to have my music collection in my mind where everything was. So I would have 1,500 CDs or something like that.
Yeah.
And so when somebody would ask for something, I would just know, my mind would just know where it was, right?
Yeah.
And then when I got a computer with all the songs in it, all I had to do was type in the song. I within two gigs, two shows, I couldn't remember where anything was in my backup collection, my backup CD collection, because I always brought those with me for a while.
Yeah.
And it's use it or lose it, and it's amazing when the convenience is such a large increase in the convenience of something, how quickly the other side of your brain goes into lazy mode.
I have an experience with this, Darrell, what you're talking about. There is what is called Vedic mathematics. I have a DVD also. When I went through the DVD, what they used ancient times for the mathematics, they were doing complex mathematics just by the brain, just by like that, And I used to have this composite mathematics in the high school. That was very tough, but we did it. And I used to do everything by, what you're saying, that memory, even the telephone numbers and everything we used to remember, That was also a concern. Are we going to lose that, especially for the kids? Not only attention span, but also this capacity to be able to come up with that inner strength of the mind, Actually, there is something in the scientific circles. Do you guys know that movie, A Man of Infinity? Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay, that is about this mathematician in India, and he gets all these formulas just like that, and that's why they brought him to London. I think this happened in the in the middle of 20th century or something like that, And then he came to London. He worked with Thomas Murphy, Thomas Hardy. He was the known physicist and mathematician at the time, and he was bowled over by these equations this man had. So he brought them. They made that movie, Man of Infinity, on that, But that in that movie they show us as it happened. What is important for us is understanding how ancients had this mind where they could go into themselves and then figure out a lot of things by that intuitiveness. That is documented, that's available too. A lot of Westerns don't have that kind of intuitiveness. That's why they are not able to understand that. They are all analytical to seeing outward and all. But once they turn in, they can touch what they too. So that's an argument there. But I'm enjoying this technology. I'm applying myself to learn, which I always like to really, apply myself to new challenges. That's why I keep myself sharp. Compared to the age group of physicians that I have, I am far ahead. But even though I know these skills are limited for me, I just use it for what I want. But I'm thinking about these things. What is it going to have on the larger impact, on our larger society, and how we can help people to adjust to it and get the better of it, and not the victim of this automation and increased inequality. That is the purpose of this talk.
That's wonderful. Well, I'll be listening. If anybody has any question for me, I'll be right here.
Yeah, sure. So then I just put the room up there, and then whoever comes up, they want to come up and ask questions. So Darrell also is actively involved in producing that his software relevant page. So that's a good thing that if you want to subscribe to that and then use it. And he had a lot of technical producing knowledge on this. So if you have questions, you can ask them. Like Alisa was asking about some of the rooms in Clubhouse. They may not be some rooms telling everything, but there's also a lot of setting going on there too. One thing I saw was chai.org. Alisa, did you know that chai.org? That's a good one. I was introduced to that by Lady Jules' friend. Her name is Lady Millard, I think, and she opens those rooms, and she herself created that. And the whole thing is very simple, just one line, and then you just put it in, and so many things come up. I like that too. Chai is like she put it because she is, I think, from West Indies maybe, but. In India, chai means tea, so we were remembering that much better. I think Alisa, you should check it out. She's also pretty good, Lady Millard. Okay. I think she has a house too. I don't know what the name of the house is, but that house will be good too. Anybody else has any questions on I see some people on the wisdom. If you want to come up and you can talk to Darrell or me, anybody else here? Okay, otherwise, I will talk about some of the brain functions that are not familiar to the Western audiences, maybe, maybe some people maybe, but most of the people who talk to me, they say they don't know anything about it, so there are normal intellect and also superior intellect that is awakened. That comes because if you empty your mind, if you are not attached to something conclusively, that means you are open completely, then these things they call medha, prajna, smriti, and a couple of them else too. All of them are functions of the mind that really helps you to absorb more subtle, deeper aspects of the mind, and thereby you will function better, you'll be in flow state, you'll be learning more, you're remembering more, and then you apply that intellect much deeper. But most of the people think only in certain patterns, they're socialized or conditioned like that, and later on their mind shuts down. So they want to think within the patterns. Even the highest intellectual contributor or student or anybody are like that. So there are practices that we do from the ancient medical sciences that are pretty good, that keeps the mind pretty sharp and also allows you to rest better. So I personally enjoy that. That's why I'm talking about that. We don't have to believe anybody. We have to experience that. That way, this chat GPT can make you mechanical mind or make you awakened, sharp, much brighter mind. Those kind of things are very, very important. As the new technology is coming, it can improve outward life. But then, if you don't protect your inward life by really understanding what was done in the human experience in the ancients to now, there are a lot of people who practice it, but they cannot talk about it because most of the modern people don't have the mind to absorb that. But anybody can learn that, and then they can enjoy. Suppose ChatGPT does a lot of things that are mundane and really you don't have to exert much. It's like this. At one time, muscle was important to work, and then we have technology that has overcome the muscle. Now, mind work was going on for all these centuries and recent past, but now ChatGPT is going to take over the mind too. So, what are you going to do in human life? That is the fear, that is the concern, that is the probable effect that is going to be. So there's a lot of room for understanding it and finding our um, inner capacities, and then thereby you can always be better human being or with better faculties. That is not going to be very sweet music for a Western mind, which is really stuck on outgoing intellect and outgoing sensory perceptions. This is much deeper than that. It will be coming because even people like me talking means that there will be a lot of other people who will be talking about this. I happen to know the ancient wisdom a little bit deeper because I made my business to know about that. And a lot of attention will be given to that and will be brought back. And I think we will be better humans that way if we want to use both sides. Like I'm using ChatGPT, but at the same time, I know the inner self, inner things, and all that. So I'm going to share whatever I know. Whoever wants to take it, they can take it. But otherwise, I'm better off knowing that way. Okay. So that is the topic for today. Alyssa, you have any other questions before I close the room?
I do, but I can't right now.
Okay.
I have stuff that I need to deal with, pertinent stuff.
Okay, very good. Because more people are going to talk about it as we go along. So it's not going to be only one room. As I go on, I'll be talking about this aspect of it. And more people will obviously will talk about that too. And at the time, we will have more participation probably. Okay. Is there anything else you want to ask me, or you want me to close the room?
No.
Okay.
You can close the room. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll see you then. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.